Hello and welcome to Afternoon Tea with Karen. Let's have fun with documents part 2. Regarding this, the Victorian government website response to the inquiry into anti-vilification protections. We will read more on the consultation by clicking on that bar that says read more on the consultation. That takes us to Engage Victoria's website, strengthening Victoria's laws against hate speech and hate conduct. We invited people to make written submissions or complete surveys in response to 3 consultation papers, which I am currently going through. In my last video, I went through stage 1, protecting more Victorians from vilification, and today I'm going to check out stage 2, criminal anti-vilification protections. Side note, timeline on the right here. Report back on consultation 24th of May 2024. Took me a little while to find that. It's just down here, report back, strengthening Victoria's laws against hate speech and hate conduct. I'll have a look at that later. Let's check out the consultation papers that the 741 people reviewed. Improving criminal anti-vilification protections for all Victorians. Department of Justice and Community Safety. Table of contents. Privacy collection notice. Acknowledgement, introduction, context. People who are vilified for reasons other than race and religion, such as their sex, sex characteristics, gender identity, sexual orientation, disability, or HIV status, are not protected by the Racial and Religious Tolerance Act of Victoria from 2001. The Racial and Religious Tolerance Act provides 2 kinds of protection against vilification. Civil protection, allowing a person who has experienced vilification to seek a remedy like an apology or compensation through dispute resolution services at the Victorian Equal Opportunity and Human Rights Commission or through the Victorian Civil and Administrative Tribunal. Also, criminal protections, making serious vilification a crime that can be reported to and investigated by police. A person who commits a serious vilification can receive up to 6 months imprisonment and a fine of over $11,000. Now, currently, there are some cases going in Victorian courts in regard to the Nazi salute. They haven't been tried yet. So if that goes through, that will be now a 12-month prison term and an over $100,000 fine, or both. Focus on this paper is to consult on broader changes to the criminal anti-vilification laws. This paper discusses proposals on strengthening current criminal laws protecting Victorians from serious vilification, the need for Director of Public Prosecution's approval to prosecute criminal cases involving serious vilification, and the maximum penalty. The government is also considering how best to implement the recommendations relating to research, data collection, education, and public awareness, and will seek feedback on these initiatives in due course. Proposal 1, current laws. Overview of recommendations. To strengthen the current offences, the inquiry recommends creating a single offence covering a wider range of protected attributes, not just race and religion, making it clearer that serious vilification requires a public act to take place, using the definition that is currently used in the New South Wales offence outlined below, making it unlawful to either incite hatred or threaten physical harm rather than requiring both, and lowering the threshold for committing an offence to include recklessness. The inquiry recommends these changes to streamline and improve the current offences, which it found to be too complex and difficult to prove. The inquiry recommends extending criminal protections against serious vilification to cover the attributes of sex, sex characteristics, gender identity, sexual orientation, people with disability, people living with HIV/AIDS, and any personal association with targeted groups. The inquiry also recommends clarifying the criminal offences to ensure people are protected from vilifying behaviour based on one or more protected attributes. The new criminal offence would protect any person within a targeted group. The inquiry's recommendation to limit the offence to public conduct based on Sections 93Z of the Crimes Act. So, a public act includes any form of communication to the public, including speaking, writing, displaying notices, playing of recorded material, and communicating through social media and other electronic methods. Any behaviour that is seen by the public, including actions and gestures, and the wearing or displaying of clothing, signs, flags, emblems, and insignia, and the distribution of any matter to the public. This also defines this definition also clarifies that an act may be considered public even if it occurs on private land. This broadened definition would include a range of public acts, including conduct that takes place on private property, for example, displaying a poster in your front yard visible to the street, and online communication made to the public, for example, social media. However, adopting this recommendation could unintentionally narrow the serious vilification criminal offence. This is because it would only capture online conduct that is visible to the public. This may be quite restrictive and could actually weaken the existing serious vilification offences, as it may be too narrow to capture communications that are shared in private online groups and private environments like workplaces. For example, courts in Queensland and New Zealand have found that communications made within a workplace and classrooms are not public acts, so they've already been through this. Anyway, in contrast, the existing laws may apply even if a person uses the internet or email to publish material that is not directed at the public. While not visible to the public, this type of conduct may still be serious enough to require criminal protection. Question 1, what do you think about it? The inquiry proposed that the criminal offence bans conducted that either is likely to incite hatred or serious contempt, revulsion, or severe ridicule, is likely to threaten physical harm or damage to property. One way to keep the distinction between civil and criminal protections could be to create two different criminal offences. So this will allow them, I think, so that there can be a criminal case and they can have a civil case as well with the Victorian Equal Opportunity and Human Rights Commission. So, in question 2, what did you think of all that? This has already happened, you can't fill it in. Broadening the criminal offence to include reckless behaviour causing serious vilification. So the inquiry recommends broadening the criminal offence to include serious or reckless behaviour. For these offences, intention would require a person to know their behaviour will likely cause serious vilification. Recklessness would require them to be aware of the substantial risk that their conduct will likely cause serious vilification, or they probably believe that their conduct would incite hatred and they continue anyway. Instead of needing to prove that a person intended to do something, the offence would focus on what they knew, intention, or what they probably believed, recklessness, would happen as a result of that conduct. This would broaden the offence by capturing a wider range of conduct. Number 2, review requirement for Director of Public Prosecutions to approval to prosecute. Blah, blah, blah. Currently, the Victorian Police must get written approval from the Director of Public Prosecutions before a person can be charged and taken to court for a serious vilification offence. The inquiry recommends reviewing this requirement based on feedback that is inefficient and an unnecessary barrier for the police. If implemented, the recommended changes would capture a much broader range of conduct than the current offences and apply a higher maximum penalty. Um, the inquiry notes that the Victorian Police is rarely required to seek the Director of Public Prosecution's approval for compatible offences. What, like misdemeanours? However, since the inquiry, the government introduced new criminal offences. Also, that's the Nazi salute thing that's currently before the courts, and that requires the Director of Public Prosecution's approval to prosecute because it's the public purse. Question 4 was, what do you think about that? So, increasing maximum penalties for serious vilification offences, proposed reform number 3. Overview of the recommendations. The inquiry recommends that the government review the maximum fine and imprisonment term for serious vilification. It suggests that the maximum penalty should be similar to that from compatible crimes. What are they? 29. Got to see a report. Okay. So here are some examples and some other things. In Victoria, only 4 people have been sentenced for serious vilification offences. A number of Victorian offences criminalise similar behaviour to the serious vilification offences but have a higher maximum penalties. For example, intentionally displaying Nazi symbols in public, maximum fine of a 23,000 plus dollars and or a maximum of 12 months imprisonment. Grossly offensive public conduct has a maximum penalty of 5 years imprisonment. Threatening to destroy or damage property is a maximum penalty of 5 years imprisonment. Got all those monuments that have been anyway. Chart. And there's the questions that were scattered through there. And there's a bit about the Victorian Equal Opportunity and Human Rights Commission. So in my next video, I'm going to have a look at stage 3, civil anti-vilification protections. But that'll do for now. See you later, bye.